senior fellows, Ben and Jeremy Samuels. They are part of an ALF family. Their father was Vic Samuels, was also a senior fellow, and so this is a family legacy of community impact and also within our network. So welcome to our Leadership Hub.
Thank you.
The Samuels family, I'll share a bit as well, that they've been instrumental in helping us open our Leadership Hub through the Samuels Family Foundation. And so today we want to learn more about your leadership journey and what's important to you as leaders and in the work that you lead throughout the region. So how about we start with you, Ben? Why don't you share with us what was the impact for you as a senior fellow in your class?
So I did this 20-something years ago. I was pretty young. I was in my early 30s. And I think ALF was an important step in my leadership journey. I think I was much more brash and less collaborative, and learned that if you want to get things done, particularly in the nonprofit world, but even in my professional life, you've got to bring other people along, and I think ALF was an important part of that. It was interesting. I was encouraged by our father to do it. I guess he was class 10, I was class 21, and he thought this would be an important part of not only my own development, but also making connections in the community, and it did all of that.
Wow, can you share how your ALF experience has shaped you as you're leading in a lot of nonprofits on boards? How are you bringing that to your leadership on those boards?
I think most importantly is to make sure that all voices in the room are heard, and to let the process of a conversation work its way out. Sometimes that takes more time than people want to put into it. People kind of know what the answer is, but you've got to go through the process anyways, and I think the ALF process kind of informed that, about how to make sure that all voices are heard.
Thank you. That sums it up perfectly. What we want our senior fellows to take with them as they go out and continue their leadership journey post-program. What about for you, Jeremy? What was your Class 52 experience? How is it impacting you as a leader?
So we did ALF like in the height of COVID. All of our sessions were Zoom. It was right when Zoom, everybody was kind of new to Zoom, and I will say ALF did Zoom better than anybody has at the time, and even since. You go to a lot of Zoom meetings, and none of them are as good as ALF and all the breakout rooms we had. I think it was really important for just building community. I think the leadership journey that everybody takes is personal, and everybody kind of goes at their own pace and comes to the experience with different background, but the connections and the relationships to me is what it's all about, and I still keep in touch with several people in my class. I'm on a board with one of them.
Can you share a bit more about that? About that board you're serving on, and how the ALF connection is helping you on that board?
That particular board is the Baker Ripley board. I'm on with Warren, who's in my class. I'm the new kid on the block on that board. So honestly, I haven't done very much there, but it's really comfortable to go into that room and have a deep relationship with a fellow board member, just kind of from the get-go.
That's great, thank you. And I think that happens a lot. One of the things that we're encouraging our senior fellows to do as they go out and they serve is identify other senior fellows in the room, even if they weren't in their class, and leverage that shared experience to help you move issues and organizations forward.
That happens all the time. The two of us, we sit on too many boards, but but in almost every room, we sit on a bunch of Jewish boards and a bunch of non-Jewish boards or community-wide boards, and in both instances, there's almost always some other senior fellow, not necessarily from our class, but someone that has gone through the journey.
how does that come up in those in those boards?
Usually it's like 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, and oh, you'll make some reference of, I went on the trip and I did X, and like, oh, were you a fellow too? And
Yeah. And does that shift your relationship with that person or open up?
it opens up some shared background.
Thank you. Can you share with us what your dad's experience was like as a member of Class 10?
So, the stories I remember are almost all about the Colorado trip, and his group's journey of, I guess in those days it was getting everybody up a mountain and then back down a mountain, and that not everyone can do it. I think by the time I was doing it, they had made it a lot more optional about physical ability. But with him, there was a whole lot of encouragement to get those that were less able up the hill.
I think it was also, I remember him telling me stories about the solo hike. We didn't do a solo hike, we did a solo sit in my class, but it was very impactful to him. As a high school kid, I was a Boy Scout and really into the outdoors, and it was very impactful to him, this whole nature experience and being by yourself in nature with kind of a purposeful goal, and very impactful.
It for me, the solo was the most impactful and hardest part of the whole program. I never do anything without sensory input, a book or these days a phone or whatever, and to have a large chunk of time with just myself and my thoughts was
It's a really long time. I was like, really? How are you still here?
Has that solo time in time and reflection, has that become part of your leadership practice?
It should, but no.
Maybe this is a reminder.
Yes, it does.
I mean, I try to have, I'm an introvert. I try to have kind of introspection time. I don't know that I set it aside as purposefully as that. I know that I don't. But I do like to take time to think about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it.
I think what I have taken over and over again is that you need to work on yourself, and whether that's working on yourself for leadership skills or understanding why you feel the way you feel or why you want the things you want. I have taken time to do that, but I rarely do it in a very quiet space.
Yeah. As I shared, maybe this will reignite that,
Yes.
that practice, because it's important. I mean, we're living in a lot of times very chaotic, overwhelming times, and so much distraction that's with our cell phones and demands on our time. So carving out the space for our own reflection and our own clarity, it's getting harder and harder. It takes a lot of
Yes.
intentionality.
It's important to hold yourself accountable, if you would, for what the commitments you make to yourself. I'm remembering when I had my solo time, I came out of it with this sense of I waste too much time in life, and I either need to be doing something that builds connection with other people, helps make the world a better place, is like self-improvement, self-help thing, or fun. And if it doesn't fit one of those buckets, then I'm wasting my time. And so I'm not going to say that I don't waste time, because I certainly do. But I try to challenge myself when I'm just sitting watching some brainless TV show or something.
Where does Wordle fit into that?
Challenging my brain.
Okay.
And put the world in a better place.
And
It doesn't make
pickleball.
the world a better place.
Pickleball is fun.
Right.
Pickleball is fun.
Pickleball is
There
fun.
you
And healthy.
And healthy. So we are, as I shared, sitting here at our Leadership Hub, and the Samuels Family Foundation's grant to ALF helped kickstart our path to where we are today. And could you share, what do you hope will be the long-term impact of this new approach of serving our ALF community and the larger community?
So I think for me, I have two answers. First of all, our ALF experience was meaningful and impactful, and we want that to be something that can happen for other folks in our community and help bring people together that can solve our problems in our community. In addition, secondly, getting community engagement for volunteerism, for getting people together to solve problems, whether that's at one day at the food bank or over years to solve larger problems, is what our community needs. And I think what you're doing here is exactly on that path.
Thank you.
I think our community is too segmented. I actually think Houston is one of the better cities in the country as far as this is concerned, but we're still too segmented. There are too many nonprofits doing their own thing, and there's not enough collaboration in general. And I think that ALF can have a really key role of bringing people and bringing organizations together to solve community problems.
Yeah, we do a lot of work in the education space, and it is shocking when you map out how many education nonprofits there are in the greater Houston area. They're not all doing the same thing, but they're doing things close enough that they ought to be working together more than they do.
Thank you. You're so right. And we are excited to become more of a convener and a connector throughout the community. So thank you so much, because we're excited to become a connector and a convener for the community, and so you really speak to that. Before we wrap up today, could you share some words of wisdom for leaders that are coming through in the Fellows Program, leaders in our ALF community that are trying to do more impactful work out in the world? What would you say to them?
I would say lean in, listen to others in your group, and embrace differences, because I think too often in our lives we're all within our own tribes, and I think ALF is great at bringing other tribes together, and so lean into that, and focus on making the community a better place. If everybody is really focused on making the community a better place, the community will be better.
I agree with all of that. I would say, in addition, be vulnerable, be willing to put yourself out there and find your own weaknesses so that you can work upon them. And I think there's a value in being willing to change, and the going through a process an education process can make you a better leader, and not all leadership styles work in every situation. You need to fill that toolbox.
Right. Great words of wisdom. Thank you so much to both of you and to your family foundation, and for investing in ALF, and we're excited to see what happens in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.